What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be checking out the new Hiya Toys. This is the exquisite mini Predator 2 City Hunter figure. Before we do anything, we'll go ahead and take the tape measure. A smaller figure this is. The Predator, the exquisite mini Predator, stands at about 4.5 inches in height. Hiya Toys have really answered a long-time dream of mine, of having a smaller, essentially 3 3/4 inch Predator that can go along with my 3 3/4 inch figure. So as another comparison, I'll get him to stand here. I'm going to bring in, it's the only figure I had currently out without having to kind of go deep into my storage area, but there is Duke, a 3 3/4 inch Duke to be exact, from the first G.I. Joe movie. Just going to give you guys a size comparison. Channing Tatum. So it's really the appropriate sized figure if somebody has always wanted to get a 3 3/4 inch version of a Predator to go along with their 3 3/4 inch sized figure. So I think it actually works out rather nicely. They're scaled at about the size that one would think these figures should line up to one another. I just want to show you guys that. The figure doesn't really stand all that well. I find he does have a tough time with his feet. Luckily, they also include a display stand of one of his many accessories. Comes with a display stand, and you'll see all these little notches here, two, and two on the sides. Also comes with these extra pegs, if I can reach off here. These extra pegs just tab in, and I'm certain also that the Alien figures did these as well, and the Colonial Marines when we had a look at those. But essentially, they would tab in like this, and then you could have a secondary, a third, and really have them any which direction that you want to attach multiple bases together. In the case here of the Predator, it's kind of more like a dirtier sort of base bottom. One standalone peg, which actually helps the figure, although it's a little trickier to get the figure onto the peg. The peg seems like it's just a hair larger than the peg can fit. So you really have to kind of work it on there to get the figure to stand on the stand. And luckily, once in place, it's a lot easier to pose it in much more creative ways than simply just having him stand like this. Predator also comes with a ton of extra accessories as well, and also comes with a really neat looking pamphlet giving you an idea of the kind of pieces that Hiya Toys have slated for the Predator line. So you've got the Stalker Predator, Lost Predator, Shaman Predator, and Scout Predator. We flip it around. The City Hunter, Guardian Predator, Shadow Predator, Boar Predator, Warrior Predator, and last but certainly not least, the Elder Predator. Looking very much to hopefully getting all of these, and of course reviews of those will follow if I get a chance. Like I said, he does come with a whole bunch of different accessories, tons and tons of accessories. Why don't we actually spend some time first and foremost looking at the figure, and then we'll kind of delve into all the goodies that come included with the figure. So getting a close-up look at this rather small but very impressive City Hunter Predator. He is appearing as if he, well, based on his looks from the Predator 2 movie. I couldn't help but notice that I didn't see an original classic Predator anywhere on the pamphlet here. So hopefully we do get ourselves a classic Predator. As much as I like the second design, I rather prefer the first one. Well, it's not the Shadow Predator is an unmasked version, but it's not quite classic. So hopefully we might get a classic along the lines. I don't think we've gotten a classic yet from Hiya Toys. So as it goes, a really nice representation here of City Hunter. Decked more out with the more darker, almost copper colors than what the The original classic Predator had the Jungle Hunter, which had more of the helmet, a more silver, almost gray color. City Hunter here has closer to more of a copper color. So copper really runs the gambit here on this particular figure. Copper in the helmet, and then that kind of same similar color on the gauntlets, the armor on his shoulders, even on his skirt area, and closer down by his ankles as well on his front, I guess, thigh guards. The helmet is not removable. I thought it actually was. There's a gap in there, but it doesn't look like I can remove it. Try as I might, it doesn't actually look like it's supposed to come off. So I'm going to lean myself closer to the idea that it does not come off. Nor the pamphlet. Let me just show you the pamphlet again. Spending a lot of time looking at the pamphlet, I know. Looking at said pamphlet, they obviously don't show images of the unhelmeted version of City Hunter, nor if you look at the packaging. Let me just show that as well. It doesn't show the helmet coming off, so more leaning itself to me believing that the helmet is not removable. Nonetheless, though, it still looks really nicely done. The fact that they would give you the indication that it is removable says something to their design of the Predators here. Of course, you got the softer plastic making use for the dread areas here. He does have a sash, which I do feel like is slightly too long for the figure. Feels like it could be maybe a tad shorter. It's about the only loose thing to the figure itself. Of course, he's got the blades on the gauntlet area here, which can retract. Pull those out. Slightly softer rubber, so it may warp. You may want to just kind of keep the blades more so in, kind of keep everything kind of situated. The little control console is not something that opens on the particular figure, but that's okay with me. Nice paint on this guy. Going back actually to his feet. His feet do have poseability. Does seem like they want to have a hinge in there, but I don't feel like the hinge is nearly enough to get a proper stand on this guy. A lot of times, just by the nature of the way that the feet aren't even flatly planted, but couple that with the articulation in the feet, I do find, if anything, as a negative, that the figure does have some slight difficulty standing. You might see myself doing this, or yourself doing this, I guess, as you pick the figure up, just to kind of get his legs spread and hopefully not topple over in the process. Comes with a bunch of different accessories. Like I said, he comes with really a lot. Comes with the removed skull and the included spinal cord to be attached to that, which you can actually display in his hand. The hands, luckily, are a nice soft plastic, so getting any of the accessories into his hand is not a tricky feat at all. You get him to hold the skull. Now, granted, he does also come with some extra hands as well. We'll look at those in a second. Comes with his disc, which actually comes also with the hand for the disc. You can slot the fingers. They're a little trickier, mind you, because the holes are so small on the disc, but I have been able to get the fingers into the slots, into the holes of the disc. And the disc, like with other figure releases, and also in the movie, the disc does fit. I get it facing the right way. Does fit into that little holster. Not well, mind you. It may fall out, but it does, like I said, may fall out, but it does stay in there to some extent. Also comes with his plasma caster shoulder-mounted cannon, which is a little trickier to get to because you have to move the hair all out of the way, like that. And it really actually just slots itself. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it gets a little broader down at the bottom and it gets a little thinner as it works its way up to the top. So you have to kind of pry it, slightly force it in the groove area here. And because it's a softer plastic, it kind of spreads itself enough that you can get the caster, the shoulder cannon, in place. And it fits in like that. You don't see it as well just because of how small it is and because the dreads are going to be covering over it. And a lot of times if you are moving the head back, you may find this popping off. as well, so just be mindful of that. And it's very, very easy to remove and slot it back into place. Also comes with his spear, both the retracted and the extended version, depending on your preference. Some really nice, exquisite, I had to use that word in there, exquisite coloring between the grays and the almost slightly more browns added to the actual spear. It's a little warped. I will not lie. It's a little on the warped side, but nothing. A little bit of water, hot water, and a little bit of bending won't get corrected. And then lastly, he comes with a series of interchangeable hands. Some more spread out hands. This one's actually a little bit better suited for the disc itself. A couple of different gripping hands. Currently, he does have technically the means to hold the accessories in his defaulted hands, so you really don't need to necessarily swap those out. But if you so wanted to, it's simply just a case of popping it out from the very small peg ball joint and just replacing it with the hand that you want to replace it to. You just want to wiggle that on into place. I'm always kind of a big sucker when it comes to the spreading finger hand that the Predator has. And then you can kind of just have the blades extended outward. And you can just kind of rotate the head. And again, it really looks quite good. Poseability on this guy is as impressive as the sculpt. His head rotates all the way around via the ball joint, up and down motion as well. It does look like he does have a secondary ball joint, if you guys can see it. Ball joint that attaches to this socket area of the head, but then a secondary ball joint at the base of the neck. So I really like that. Shoulders hinge outward, as well as really technically you could rotate them all the way around. He does have a swivel on the bicep, hinge on the elbow. Of course, we've already looked at the hand, so you already know how that all comes together. A ball joint on the hand. Upper torso ball joint. Nothing in the lower waist. Split on the legs. Swivel cut on the top area of the thigh. He has a double hinge on the knee. And lastly, he has, I'm assuming it's going to just be a ball joint. You can't really hinge these up and down all that much, but you can rotate the feet all the way around. He also does have his little net on the side, but it doesn't look like you can remove it. But really, for the number of accessories this guy does technically come with, I'm not really devastated by the fact that I can't remove the net there on his leg. Hiya Toys have answered a long-time dream I've had of having a Predator that could fit in well with the scale of other 3 3/4 inch figures. Truth be told, I'm sure many of us growing up with G.I. Joes always wanted to have a Predator that could be hunting the Joes maybe in a forest area. We had to wait a little bit longer, granted, to get it, but the end result is a really nice representation of City Hunter here in a scalable size to 3 3/4 inch figures. The detailing on these are quite impressive, as well could be said for the tons of different accessories that they come included with. The only thing I would say is a negative to this, to the figure itself, it's not so much for the figure, but I wish the stands were a little bit bigger. If you want to have any real dynamic poses for the Predators themselves, a larger footprint, a larger display base could have probably gone a long way. And the only other problem I have with the figure is the feet are a little more trickier to get the figure to stand. I kind of wish that there was a little bit more flexibility with what you could do with the feet. Otherwise, pretty happy with this figure all around. I'm definitely looking forward to wanting to pick up more of these. These should be available now in comic book stores. If not, you could probably certainly find these online as well. Highly recommend it if you guys are interested in smaller scale Predators, which again is something I've been wanting for at least 20 plus years. Long time. Today we were having a look at the Hiya Toys. This was the exquisite mini Predator 2 City Hunter figure. If you guys haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button down below yet, make sure you do so. More videos will be coming your way. And just to give you a little teaser as well, we're going to have a look at a couple more of these as well. So stay tuned for those. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.